Hey everybody, Home/Henry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about an extremely underrated part of Pokemon Go PvP that can help you win a lot more games, and that is win-con identification. There are a lot of great fundamentals and mechanics that you can learn that are going to help you win more games. And these are things that I do genuinely recommend that people work on. Stuff like learning charge attack timing, learning when to prioritize switch advantage versus shield or energy advantage, and learning to count your opponent's moves. However, one thing that I don't think is discussed quite as much is win-con identification, which is when you're in the middle of a battle, being able to see through the fog of that battle to identify how am I going to win the game and be able to execute that game. So today, I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from a different game, and that is chess. I know chess will often have like chess puzzles where they show you a position on the board and you try and figure out how to win it. So my plan here is I'm going to take several games that are from regional championships, I'm going to play them through, pause part of the way through that battle, and then you can pause as well to try and figure out how the battler is going to play to get the win. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at some win-con identification from the Play Pokemon circuit. Our first match is going to be Elite versus Wadaj, and it's a dominant lead for Elite as he leads Machamp into the Sand Slash, and the safe switch to Zoom World by Wadaj is quickly answered by Cresselia, and so far Elite is completely dominating in terms of alignment. However, things are not nearly as good for Elite as it may seem, as Wadaj is running an ABB style team. The Azumarill safe switch is designed to lure out the Cresselia to then free up Chestnut to try and sweep in the endgame. Additionally, Alolan Sandslash can threaten shields off the Machamp because it's going to be able to farm down Cresselia and exit with a ton of energy. Elite is going to look to pick up the knockout with the Grass Knot, and we're going to pause the footage right here. Now think about this for a second. If you're Elite, how do you win this game? You've fallen into Wadaj's trap. What is your counterplay? And well, the answer is an aggressive Shadow Feraligatr pivot. Wadaj responds with the Chestnut, but he is slow in that response. Elite can now honestly just go straight Hydro Cannon, because even a Hydro Cannon being resisted will still do quite a lot of damage. All he had to do was not give up the farm, and it put him in a pretty good position. Wadaj tries to commit to the farm down as it is his win con, but he's unable to do so. The Hydro Cannon lands, in comes Cresselia. Cresselia is going to successfully waste a Frenzy Plant from the Chestnut. Chestnut is going to go for the superpower, but Machamp can now completely sweep this endgame, and this game was all set up by Elite's perceptiveness. He did not fall for Wadaj's trap of letting the Sandslash get a ton of farm. Instead, he aggressively pivots that Feraligatr, and that gives him a win in this winner's finals. We move to the next match, ME Weedle versus Dunebug. This is the grand finals of the European International Championship, and Weedle picks up a favorable lead, leading Altaria into Lickitung. Now this is a zero shield win for the Altaria as long as it goes for double Sky Attack. ME Weedle is going to look to connect with Sky Attack number 1. Dunebug is more than happy to let this go. Taking a look at the back lines, there's a Cresselia in the back for ME Weedle and 2 water types for Dune. So Dune is now going to save switch into Lantern in an attempt to bait out the Cresselia. So suddenly, the back lines, despite looking very good for ME Weedle at the start, are suddenly tilting in favor of Dune, as Dune is able to lure out this Cresselia, and this sets up the Shadow Whiscash to absolutely feast on the Lantern in the endgame. So things could unfortunately be tilting out of Weedle's control in this match. Surf is going to connect, Weedle is going to get the perfect overfarm, exiting very close to back-to-back moves. Dunebug is going to let that go, and now he can bring back in the Lickitung. He is going to be waiting down the switch timer, though. In comes the Lickitung, going to be hit with the Moonblast, and now it is Whiscash's moment to shine. Shadow Whiscash hits the field of play, and ME Weedle knows he's in trouble. The Mud Bomb is reached, and now we pause. How do you win this game from ME Weedle's position? The Cresselia, if you shield it, is just getting outpaced. Lantern's on Spark, so that's getting outpaced as well. And the Altaria is on very low HP. So how do you win this game? Weedle wins it by no shielding the Cresselia. Even though he has a very low health Altaria, he recognizes that Altaria is a flying type, which means it double resists mud shots, which means in the 2 shield, it can actually withstand a tremendous amount of fast moves and apply a ton of fast move pressure to the Shadow Whiscash. So he actually saves both shields for his lowest health Pokemon, and it wins him this game because he gets all of the Dragon Breath damage onto the Whiscash and both shields, and now he can just clean up the game with the Lantern. Lantern is going to be hit with a super effective Mud Bomb, but it will not KO. Lantern waits the turn to avoid the catch. There's the fist pump from M.E. Weedle, and things looked very scary in that mid game, but he was able to have a perfect understanding of what would win him the game, and it was double shielding Altaria. The next match we'll take a look at is Colin 6 versus Howie. Now, this is a matchup early on in the tournament, but these are both formidable competitors. The leads are set, and this is not where Clodsire would like to be aligned against a Malamar, and Malamar will be able to hit for super effective damage with the Psy Waves. Foul play is going to be no-shielded by the Clodsire overfarming massively and baiting with the Sludge Bomb. The Sludge Bomb bait is successful, able to grab a shield from Howie. Howie does get to outpace, going for the foul play. This will not be enough to KO. Immediate no shield from Colin, and in comes the Shadow Feraligatr. Feraligatr farming up a ton of energy. Howie's going to bank a superpower, bring in Azumarill, as Azumarill is a wall to the charge attacks from Feraligatr. However, this is part of what makes Shadow Feraligatr so incredibly strong. Up energy, it has very few counters. Feraligatr is going to begin the Hydro Cannon spam, and Azumarill will just absolutely melt under the charge attack pressure. Feraligatr is going to use the first shield of the game. Could throw 4 in the move here, but instead throws 5 to guarantee a double up on Hydro Cannons. Howie is going to shield, try and go for the play rough, but loses the CMP tie. Feraligatr able to neutralize the final shield and the entire Azumarill. There is a superpower stored on the Malamar. Howie's going to bring in the Malamar. Malamar farms up, and it's one off the back-to-back. This means Colin can shield, throw the Hydro Cannon, and pick up the knockout. So Feraligatr's put in a tremendous amount of work. In the back for Howie, it's a Talonflame, and I'm pausing the game here. This situation looks bleak for Colin. His Feraligatr dies to 2 Incinerates, which means it cannot make a Hydro Cannon. There's a Sludge Bomb banked on Clodsire, but that doesn't KO the Talonflame, and Ariados basically can't damage the Talonflame. So, if you're Colin, how do you win? Colin is going to stay in with the Feraligatr, do 4 Shadow Claws, defer the Incinerate damage onto the Clodsire, and by doing so, that allows him to make the Hydro Cannon that he could have got no other way to win this game. And I'll be honest, that is one of the most impressive win con identifications in the entirety of Professional Pokemon Go PvP. As Colin says, no sweat there. But the reason why he was able to do that is because Incinerate being a 5-turn move, the damage doesn't register until the end. And Feraligatr, of course, is 2-turn Shadow Claw, so he's able to do 8 turns of fast moves and then switch, and the Incinerate registers on the Clodsire instead of on the Feraligatr. We move to the next match. We'll be taking a look at a Mind Joke versus Aero Bubble, and it's a dominant lead for Aero Bubble. Medicham into the Alolan Sandslash. A Mind Joke save switches Noctowl, answered with a Bomb of Snow. In the back for a Mind Joke is Medicham, and Aero Bubble has his own Noctowl. So Aero Bubble has perfectly line called a Mind Joke. He's Mon for Mon countering him. Let's see what a Mind Joke can do. He does grab a shield advantage in this initial matchup, but a Bomb of Snow exits with a ton of energy, and it's time to pause the battle. What should a Mind Joke do next? Does he bring in the Sandslash, try and farm all the way down? Does he go Medicham to get energy? What does he do? Let's unpause it and take a look. First of all, he needs to neutralize the energy from the Abomasnow, so he's going to bring in the Alolan Sandslash, and Sandslash is going to be resisting all the moves. That Energy Ball does quite a lot of damage. He's going to bank a ton of energy and now snipe with the Medicham, so Medicham has an energy advantage and a shield advantage in this endgame negative matchup, and there's a lot of energy stored on the Alolan Sandslash. This will allow Medicham to be able to outpace. One Ice Punch will not threaten a shield, but a second one will be able to be reached as well, and this will pick up a KO. So Aero Bubble is forced to commit the shield. Preserving the Medicham will be everything here, as a Mind Joke needs his Medicham to KO Arrow Bubbles, and there's the switch back into the Medicham. A Mind Joke is going to fire off the Psychic. This will do some solid damage to Arrow Bubbles' Medicham. Psychic is going to connect. He gets the catch, catching the Psychic onto the Alolan Sandslash. So he's gotten an energy advantage, a shield advantage. Now he gets a catch to waste his opponent's energy. He fires off the Ice Punch, intentionally not throwing the Drill Run because he needs energy on his Medicham. That was an intentional choice. The Drill Run does more, but he wants the farm on his Medicham, so that way his Medicham will successfully outpace the Noctowl, and despite being triple countered, it does not matter. Surgical gameplay from a Mind Joke, and he's able to win the decisive Game 3. The next game we'll be taking a look at is between Snots and Pranov. It's a winner-take-all decisive Game 3. And it's a pretty neutral lead Mantine versus Shadow Dragonair, but the backlines are extremely polarizing, meaning that whoever wins Switch has a massive advantage and will probably win the game. The issue for Pranov is that this Mantine is able to win the twos just going straight Aerial Ace, and Aerial Ace outpaces Body Slam. So Pranov is going to no-shield the first, but Snots is going to fire off Aerial Ace number 2. Pranov choosing to let this go, and we're going to pause the game here. So at this point, you lose switch advantage. Lickitung will be on Vigoroth, Annihilate will be on Trevenant. As Pranov, how do you win this game? And now we'll unpause the game and watch in real time what Pranov does to win this game. And his first step is bringing in the Lickitung. Annihilate, of course, cannot afford to take these Aerial Aces, but Lickitung can tank these moves very comfortably. So Pranov is going to use his Lickitung's health and trade it for a near insurmountable energy advantage. Lickitung, so much energy. In comes the Vigoroth, and Vigoroth will immediately be met with a Body Slam. Body Slam is going to connect. Pranov now going for the harder hitting Power Whip. Power Whip into the Vigoroth is going to connect. There's a switch to Annihilate. Quickly answered with the Trevenant, but Trevenant, it's down a shield and it's down energy. Snots, no shields, and it's the Night Slash bait. Pranov, had he gone for the Shadow Ball, could have won the game on the spot, but Snots with a huge call, and now things are again looking tough for Pranov. He did a great job in neutralizing the health on that Vigoroth earlier, but now he just needs to get through the Trevenant. Trevenant is going to play to the CMP tie, denying the energy, and Pranov's letting this go. He sees the win con. His win con is farming with the Lickitung. Lickitung gets energy here, survives the counters to make the Body Slam, and despite not having switch advantage at all throughout the course of that game, he leverages shield and energy advantage to secure the victory. The next match we'll be taking a look at is from the Pokemon Go World Championships in the year of 2023. And this is a day 2 match, meaning these battlers have progressed very far on the winner's side of the bracket. The battlers, Elshay versus Inadequence. The leads are set in this matchup, and it's a very neutral lead, Azumarill versus Medicham. This was Medicham when it was at its most dominant, so even though this was a type disadvantage matchup, Medicham could still have win cons here. Medicham is going to strike first with a Psychic. Medicham looking to farm up, and there's a switch and a nice catch by Inadequence as he's able to catch the Play Rough onto the Galarian Stunfisk. Galarian Stunfisk is going to be answered with the Medicham. These counters add up quite significantly, but importantly, Elshay is not running a fighting type charge move, only Ice Punch and Psychic. Neither one is going to do a ton of damage. Elshay is going to look to massively overfarm and pick up the knockout with an Ice Punch. The no shield from Inadequence, as he's more than happy to let this go. He's now going to bring in his Medicham against Elshay to absorb this energy, and Inadequence is banking on the fact that Venusaur is going to deliver victory in the endgame for him. Psychic is going to connect, KOing the Medicham in the back is going to be the Shadow Venusaur. Shadow Venusaur is forced to immediately give up a shield as Azumarill fires off the Ice Beam, but by staying in, Elshay has desynced the switch timers, and that's something that Inadequence can potentially take advantage of. Inadequence is going to fire off the Frenzy Plant, that's going to get a shield. Elshay, no baits here, going straight for the Earthquake, and Inadequence is going to commit the final shield. So Venusaur is shields down, but Venusaur has a big energy head start and an ability to potentially switch out after this next charge move, able to outpace, and this is the moment that will decide the match. The switch clock is up for Inadequence, switches into the Medicham, and now we pause the game. This endgame situation looked so good, but with Inadequans being able to switch into the Metacham, the Earthquake that was going to guarantee victory for Elshe now has to be wasted on the Metacham, and the Venusaur can outpace Azumarill. So I pose the question, how does Elshe win this game? We snap back to the match. Elshe clicks Earthquake, but goes for an undercharge. He doesn't want the KO. He wants a bubble farm down with the Azumarill. Now Azumarill is barely going to outpace, and Inadequans nods in appreciation as Elshe, with a perfect undercharge, gets the energy needed to outpace the Venusaur and secure victory. All in all, this is kind of a new concept that I am trying on the channel, so let me know if you do have any feedback. I really like the idea of a Pokemon Go PvP style of the kind of chess puzzles that people have for a while, and I think that causing people to look at partially completed games and try and visualize a potential winning scenario can potentially help people in their own battles, because they'll obviously be doing more of that same style of thinking throughout the course of their battles. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys found something valuable or informative from the content. And yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.